How do I know this is real love? Jennifer asked me this as she sat across from me. Her mood was excitement mixed with a little bit of nervousness. Jennifer shared, I like Chad a lot. I mean, a lot. But how do I know whether this is turning into something more serious? Hi, I'm Chip, a licensed marriage and family therapist here to help you flourish in relationships and in life. Have you ever wondered if in your relationships, if it's still in the fun dating phase or if it's actually turning into something deeper? So, Jennifer's question for me was this has to be a deeper connection, right? Chad and I have gone on plenty of dates. She started counting on her fingers how many dates they've been on. Then she said, hold on, let me get out my calendar to see when our first date was. And so she pulls out her phone to check her calendar. Then she stops and asks me, how much time do we need together before I know? Because maybe you've heard this one. How do you spell love? Time. When we say that, we usually mean, I want to hear your words of affection, but the thing that is every bit as important to me is you and having you here with me. And so, by extension, that also can mean the amount of time we spend together signifies a deeper connection, right? So, you type the question in your phone when you should have the talk, and the response is somewhere around 3 to 6 months. So maybe you're a 3 month person. You get excited and you start wondering, should we have a define the relationship talk? Or maybe you get that oh feeling that says, I don't know about this. 3 months is too soon. I'm more of a 6 month person. This feels too fast. Can we merge back into the slower lane for a bit? So I invited Jennifer to try another way where she puts away her Google Calendar app and she considers the kind of patterns she's seeing that indicate to her that they're building an emotional bond. It's that special place where something clicks over from chemistry to connection. Have you been in that place? Where you wonder if it's moving from attraction to attachment? If so, buckle up because we're going to learn the 5 signs that your relationship is moving from just a scenic drive together to a destination of deeper connection. And we're going to do it through the lens of emotionally focused therapy, or EFT. Sign number one, you've started to merge emotionally. When Jennifer was getting to know Chad, they were in the early stages of dating. They shared stories. It started with, so what do you do? And tell me about your hobbies. They talked about what they liked and discussed past relationships. But when the connection starts to deepen, the conversation shifts. You can almost feel it shift gears. It's like you've popped open the hood and you're letting them get a glimpse of the inner workings of you. You begin to share the things that make you nervous or even scared. You feel comfortable to let them in on your dreams for the future or the things that keep you up at night, your hopes, insecurities, and longings. As we talked about being vulnerable, Jennifer stopped for a moment and tears began to form right here at the corners of her eyes. I really like him, but I think it scares me. I have been hurt before in other relationships, and now I worry I'll get hurt if I let myself get too close. That, right there, that's vulnerability. It's the language of the heart, and it's one of the clearest signs that your emotional bond is forming. If I'm working with a couple who feels disconnected, I know something special is happening the moment they share those vulnerable things with each other, and then they feel the supportive response from their spouse. It says to them, I'm here with you. You matter to me. That moment is where the connection grows. And that is the very thing that can potentially also be scary. Many times, as a couples therapist, I have to be ready for the fear, just like Jennifer's, that then asks, can I trust this? So that's my other question for Jennifer and for you. What happens after the sharing? One of you takes a risk and shares something that you wouldn't share with everyone. And now you're watching for the signs from the other person. Are you going to hear me, accept me? Because when your partner responds with warmth, understanding, and reassurance, it builds trust. Sign two, road work ahead. If something in your relationship is under construction, is that okay with you? Or does this sign scare you? Because in an ideal relationship, conflict becomes a way to build, not a sign to run home. Have you ever gone on a road trip across the country? If you drive long enough, you'll see these signs. What would happen if at the first encounter of road work and orange pylons, you told yourself, oh, the conditions aren't perfect, I better turn around and go home? If this is your MO, you might find it hard to ever pull out of the garage. Now, I'm not saying you should stick with a road trip that is nothing but broken pavement. That could be its own sign. What I am saying, and what I resonate with in Jennifer, is that in the dating phase, conflict can feel scary. We think, uh oh, This might ruin everything. What if it's not just broken pavement? What if the bridge is out? But ideally, when you're forming a deeper bond, something shifts. Disagreements don't automatically feel like danger. Instead, I want to invite you both to do something different. Ask, how can we see this conflict as an indicator of what is important to you and your partner? I encourage you to take a pause from asking who's right so you can give yourself space to ask, what's happening underneath this? For me, as an emotionally focused therapist, I'm looking for clues of emotional connection, and this is one of them because it means both of you are attuned enough to notice emotional patterns instead of just surface behavior. When couples can talk about what's really happening, the fear of being dismissed, the longing to feel valued, the relationship starts to deepen. Sign three, paths diverge. Even when you are physically apart, you feel emotionally safe. In the early dating stage for Jennifer, her connection to Chad depended a lot on proximity. His text messages and timely responses to her check ins gave her the reassurance of being wanted. But in a deeper relationship, you don't need constant contact to feel secure. You know where you stand. That's what we call a secure attachment. It's that sense that I feel comfortable being myself. I can still live my life and still feel emotionally close to you at the same time. That doesn't mean that you've reached a place of Shangri La where you never need reassurance. Personally, I don't buy that. Feeling secure in your relationship doesn't mean you need to detach from your heart connection to the other person. I am much more in favor of both of you having a sense of peace that comes from resting in the knowledge that if you reach out, your partner will respond. You're not anxiously scanning for signs of withdrawal. Where I want to get couples to is a place where they can check in for reassurance with words that express, if I call for you, will you respond? And the person can say with their words or actions, yes, I'm right here for you. You're important to me. Emotional safety gives you both space to breathe and the freedom to see things and do things on your own without fear that you won't come back together and the relationship will disappear. Sign four, work zone flag. Metaphorically, you see the warning signs. You see the worker with the neon vest and the red flag that lets you know something is not perfect here. But ideally, you don't just turn off the ignition in your car and huddle in a fetal position. In the honeymoon phase, we tend to idealize our partner. We can project onto them all the ideals of our perfect spouse. Oh, she told me I had something in my teeth. She's so compassionate and forgiving. So, what happens when the warning sign comes up and it's about your connection? Maybe it feels like it's about you. Do you pull away or do you lean in? If your person shuts down, do you hang in there and ask, it seemed like you just went quiet just now. Can you help me understand what's happening for you? Or do you find yourselves going to a place where you ask, why are you like this? That curiosity is what keeps love alive. If I get the chance to look at the inner workings of a reaction in a relationship to try to understand it, even defensiveness or withdrawal, it starts to make sense when I see it as a concern about your connection. When you can look beyond the behavior and see the longing underneath, you're moving from surface level attraction to genuine intimacy. Sign five, walking together. Essentially, you feel like a team, not just two people hanging out. You're doing this journey of life together. In a dating relationship, it's easy to think in terms of me and you. But when emotional bonding takes hold, that shifts to us. You begin to face challenges together instead of separately. For instance, Jennifer got a call from Chad and he wanted her opinion on something. In his job, a coworker invited him to join a project team and he wasn't sure what to do. When he called Jennifer to ask her opinion, it was deeper than letting her know him better. He was inviting her to influence his decision. You start to see more of this with couples with a deepening bond. They share their problems, dreams, and perhaps even their sense of direction. Maybe it's planning for the future or simply cheering each other on through the hard weeks. This establishes the support for what we call a secure base. It's the confidence that you have that you're not alone in this world. You found someone who has your back and you have theirs. That's where moments of thrills and butterflies in your stomach turn into emotional partnership. So, how do you know if this could be love? Your relationship is probably moving from dating to deeper connection when you start noticing the signs. You've started to merge. You share vulnerability, not just information. Road work ahead. Conflict becomes a chance to build, not a reason to do a U turn. Paths diverge. You feel secure even when apart. Work zone flagger. You start to see the indications of flaws, but you stay curious about one another, even if the journey gets bumpy. Walking together. You begin to think in terms of us, not just me and you. If you're seeing these signs, you may not just be dating anymore. You're probably bonding. And ideally, you're building a relationship where both of you feel seen, safe, and significant. And that's the good stuff. That's more than butterflies. That's what the security of real love is all about. Thanks for spending this time with me. I'm rooting for you.